I don't know, trying to see if you can learn to drift going from a simulator and then jumping straight into a real car. I don't know.
I should let go. Yeah, I should have let go. I didn't let go. I didn't spin the wheel fast enough. I'll get used to it.
I'm still in my P's, but front wheel drive is like what I had, what I got, what I've always driven. First jumping in the sim was more, I couldn't get the hang of it, and as soon as I failed or spun out, it was just, oh, this is bullshit. It doesn't handle, you can't feel the G's, it doesn't feel like a real car. Fuck this, Matt, you go.
Oh no, god damn it, I just understood straight. Alright, oh god, full driving simulator.
So do you reckon that we can learn to drift from a simulator?
No.
I do.
No.
I don't think you can
Not a
learn
chance.
100%, but I do think you can pick up the basics.
No, I don't think we can, because I don't see how this is transferable. It doesn't feel anything like a real car. Even though you just messed with the controls a lot, and you made it better, but I just... No, I don't know if you can.
I believe you can get the muscle memory down. I believe that you can know what to do, how to not over-rotate the car, how to initiate the drift. I think it's going to be complete stimulation overload when the car's going sideways. There's no fear in the simulator, but of course you're going to have a lot of fear in a car when you go sideways towards a wall. I know that there are things like the Gran Turismo Academy, which is a major competition that's been going for the past several years, where Gran Turismo hosts a competition to see who the fastest people are around a track, and then Nissan takes those people and trains them up to be professional racing drivers. And there was a video just recently where I found an esport champion who managed to beat a Formula 3 racing driver in a real car. The commentators are absolutely shocked in their voice when they realise that he wins.
It looks like he could do it. No. Oh!
Degrassi loses.
Yes.
Benito wins.
I almost find it too easy on my sim now.
How many hours have you spent on it?
I've had the sim now for like 6 months.
So 5 months.
Yeah, about 5 months of it, yeah. There was like, for the first week, I think I spent every night for several hours just... I would have work in the morning and I'd go, nah, I'm gonna sit on this for like, 4 hours until I get a clean lap. Yeah, I don't know what it is though. I can feel the whole car through this wheel. I don't know if that's just like...
It's 5 months of continuous playing. There's a hole in the bottom of the seat. It just doesn't move, it just stays there.
Being in a car, as you go into a corner, you can feel the weight shift, but in the game itself, you can't. You can't feel the weight until you've learned to feel what it feels like in difference through the wheel. And the strangest part is, after I got used to it on the simulator, I started to notice the same thing in an actual car. I stopped feeling just the weight through the body itself and through the tires, but I felt it more through the wheel.
I can feel it. It just lacks all the other feelings. The biggest thing for me is it keeps standing on the pegs too much.
Yeah, see, I can also feel like but I guess that's like any car you get into, and it's got really sensitive brakes. The first fucking time you press on it, you go through the fucking windscreen.
Having a little bit of sliding cars, but not good. experience, it's nothing alike. Like it for me, it didn't transfer at all, because you can't feel the weight of the car, and it's very difficult with a sim when you first jump on, at least, to really feel the kind of input. You don't feel like you're full throttle. You don't feel like you're locking brakes up. It doesn't feed back like a car does. So I really struggle with how I'm going to learn something more difficult again, like something that really relies on having a lot of car feel and response and everything from the vehicle itself on a simulator that doesn't move.
Matt complained about the use of using just the stationary simulator and stuff like that, so we called up VR Motorsport to see if we could use their simulators, which just put mine to shame. After using these simulators, I got home, jumped on my G29 wheel and just cried. It was just such a depressing realization of how big the difference is between these. The simulators that are at VR Motorsport are similar to the ones that, Formula One racing teams use.
Oh, I've never felt this on sequential before. That feels great. It's weird, you can actually feel G-force, you can feel like the rear end is moving, even though it's not. You're in a sim, but it's just weird, I think it feels like a car. Obviously the fear factor's not there, like if you are drifting and you hit a wall, it doesn't matter. Like that, I think that's the only bit of feel that you can get from a sim, that sim in particular, to a car, is the fear factor. Too deep. So much different to your sim, like a static sim in this is like next level. Just having a TV here and here and here is just, you find yourself looking in all directions. So much more involvement in the sim than Macca's one. Learning to, drive the car through the wheel definitely makes it easier because you can feel the whole car through the wheel and the car. It's so much easier. Once you learn on a static sim, it's so much easier to come back to these ones. But
I've driven this track a million times on Macca Sim, but I am all over the place in this thing. Getting into that and having it throw you around, you get a better feel for moment. Actually, you get a really decent feel for the inertia of the car and where you're at. There's a lot of spots there where I was like, I think I'm getting close to the wall, and then you put your boot into it and it pulls you through. Still not convinced it's like drifting a car, but it's pretty close, I guess.
When I first jumped into that simulator, I thought, yeah, you know what? I've done this in the sim a million times over. I'll be able to drift in the sim absolutely no problem. It'll be fine. And I get into the game and I start driving out onto Minami and I kick the clutch. And as I've kicked the clutch, the entire car has shifted. The whole sim has moved. The wheels spun out of my hands faster than I could grab it, and I slammed into the wall and hit my head. I went, okay, maybe there's a bit of a difference. I think it's just the overwhelming stimulation of everything going on around was just way too much to figure out within the first few minutes. After about the third lap, I started to get the hang of the way that the car would move, or the simulator would move, and picked it up from there, and I haven't got a problem. It's pretty much exactly like my sim at home, just with the added assistance of if you crash, it hurts.
So this is where things take a large time jump. By at least a good year and a bit. You see, partway through this project, Matt started to double up on his work hours as he moved into a new house,
and I had not only just started one job, but 2 jobs. Basically consuming every free hour we had to film together and dissolving it. The irony behind all this is that one of those jobs was ending up working at VR Motorsports itself, as I ended up through this project playing with the simulators a lot. Jack and I had gone out for a single drift day to put what we had learned to the test, and let's just say things started out a bit unbalanced.
I fucking did it! Oh!
The car we were using was underpowered for the track, so much so that people told us that it wasn't possible to drift on this track, not to mention the platform itself was often seen as hard as hell to control in a drift, basically because of its short wheelbase. It was a lot harder to break traction in real life than we had been doing so in the sims. But as the day went on, our muscle memory from the sim just kicked in. Now let's fast forward again. I ended up purchasing my own 1.6 litre MX-5 for a cheap track car and ended up doing a few more drift days. And by the second time out, it was as if everything that I learned in The Sims had finally transferred over. I had complete confidence in my ability, just as I did in the simulator. In the end, Matt, although he did not get to join us in a drift day, he ended up doing a skid pan day, also proving that what he had learned in The Sims in a short time had transferred over as well. So, in summary, Sims 100% can teach you what you need to know to transfer over into the real world. And this year, it's been proven time and time again with many of my friends and many other customers that come in through the doors of VR Motorsports. So, yeah. That's it, 100%. You can learn to drift from a simulator.